Hey guys, welcome back to Vince Custom. So today I'm sharing with you a custom Sue Storm Invisible Woman statue that I just finished up, and it was made from the Sideshow Collectibles Phoenix statue that I had laying around. Now, I had two of these statues a while back that sort of were damaged, and these are kind of like some side projects I was working on. So I really wanted to try something different, and I wanted to make that Sue Storm 90s outfit where it was kind of like a little bit of a risky outfit. It didn't really last too long. And she had sort of the shorter hair. And plus it was kind of more of an experiment piece too, because I wanted to practice how I cut into some of this resin and make it look like it's actually squeezing the skin a little bit more, like around the booty areas and stuff. So it was a good practice item, plus it was also something with experimenting. So that's why I kind of decided to work on this character. It's a very hard character to, not character, but pose. Because it's Phoenix supposedly flying within the Phoenix Force and the flames that Sideshow created for it. But when you take that base away, it's really hard to make these characters off the statue. So this is just one of those side items that I was just kind of like, you know, I have extra A's at night, or if I'm in the garage chopping stuff and I get done chopping everything and I have a lot more time in the day, I could break out something else that I have on the side, chop it up whenever I have extra A's or whatever, and this is kind of what I came up with. So it's a really cool design, and I really like what I kind of came up with the base. So we'll kind of go over a little bit. We'll kind of break from the top down. So this is not the original head that came with the statue. This is actually a Kate Beckinsale Underworld head from a kit I had in my box of parts a while back. I forgot the kit that came out a long time ago. We're talking like, oh man, back in the day. And I had it sitting in there, and I was going to use it for another project, but then I decided I didn't want to use it. So this was actually perfect scale with the body, so I said, let me use this. Now, the hair is actually from the Power Girl Sideshow hair, the exclusive head, the retro head. And I had, I've done a couple customs with the Power Girls, and I had the extra hair sitting in there. So what I did is I decided to use this hair on the back of her head, and then I kind of matched it with the front of it with the sculpt. So I wanted to give her that sort of like soccer mom haircut. That's kind of what I went with for this. I know this outfit sort of has that really short hair that's kind of wavy in the comic, but a lot of like fan art's giving her more of like longer hair, and I thought it would work pretty cool. So that's what I did with that. Now, kind of getting a little bit closer to for the body stuff. So what I really wanted to do is I wanted to make sure like this outfit is tight and it cuts into the skin. So what I've been doing is I've been practicing more, and I realized that I can't really do it on the polystone. What I need to do is I need to cut it into the polystone, use A's, and then I can sand it down, because polystone doesn't really like the sand too well when you have A's on top of it. So it's always better to sort of kind of create that look in there. So I also did the same thing with here. These are removable, the arms. And I wanted to make sure that it looks like the glove is kind of squeezing the skin a little bit, you know? So that's kind of what I went with on that route. And you can also see over here it's the same thing. So if you were able to look at this at different angles, you would see that it's kind of like squeezing her outfit. And I got this idea from like some artwork on DeviantArt I've been seeing. And I've been kind of like seeing what people do on DeviantArt. And also I wanted to try more with the 4 symbol on her. What I'll do is kind of get a little bit further back. Let's see if this works. So kind of turn her forward a little bit, so you can kind of see what I did there is I created the boobs basically, and then what I did is on stream one time I had the really hard piece of Eve's, and it was curing up pretty hard, and I cut out the 4 and I laid it on top of it and I let it cure. So that's why it looks like it's kind of like being taunt instead of trying to like create it into the curves, you know what I'm saying? So that's what I went with that. Since Jean had the nice ab section, I left the abs there, and I kind of just went with the outfit on that. So, like I said, I just wanted to kind of create these wrinkles, and I wanted to make it a little bit different to what I normally do. So you can see sort of like, you can see these wrinkles that are popping around her in different areas. So that's kind of what I went with that. And the same thing with her booty. What I did is I gave her, I always tell people there's a couple ways of doing like outfits for superheroes. You have like, basically I call them like 3 different styles. One, you have the thong, which is really high up and it goes into her butt crack and you don't see it. Then this is kind of what I call the bathing suit version, where it's not over their far, but it's not up her crack. And then there's the part where I would say you would have the grandma panties, which would come further down around. So it all depends on like what style you're looking for when you do like these sculpts. But I always feel like the bathing suit is the best one for a lot of characters from superheroes, because it's not too to the point where it's dental floss, and it's also not to the point where it's grandma panties, you know, granny panties. So I kind of like that. Plus, this is kind of a, even though it's a risky version of Sue Storm, I didn't want to like a thong up her crack. Basically, I wanted to give her a little bit more, you know, motherly, I guess, look, but it's still showing cleavage. So it's kind of a weird design, especially from her back in the day. And then as far as her boots go, it's sort of the same thing. What I did is I wanted to make it look like the boots are squeezing up the skin a little bit, and that's what I did there. So that took a little bit of practice on that, and I kind of, like I said, it kind of came to the point where I need to do where I chop up the resin and get the polystone away and layer Aves so I can sand it down correctly. But one of the problems though is when you have Aves layered on the top of polystone and you sand down, I always say to people what happens is Aves is softer than the polystone, so what happens if you start sanding, you start to sand the Aves faster than the polystone and you get these little layers of problems. So that's something I'm kind of learning a little bit more and trying to figure out. But if you have putty and you layer your putty down and you light sand and you layer putty down, you can get that smooth look to it. So it took a couple tries, and like I said, this is my experimental piece, so I kind of learning what to do here and there. So going on to the base. Now the base was a little bit tricky. So I figured since she kind of has like a lot of the artwork back in the day, you know, or even then, she always has like a clear visible bubble that would go around her to protect her. And I wanted to do that with the base, so I figured my idea was like the rocks or the street or whatever you're calling it is kind of breaking up around her foot, but she's kind of like, with this pose, is bringing up a bubble around her, you know? So I went and found basically a fishing bowl. That's basically what this is. It's a fishing bowl. It's really thin. You can see it's just really thin and floppy. And I went on eBay and I found one and I cut it, but the problem was it was a 1 gallon fishing bowl and it was too small, and it looked really weird being like, you know, only like a little bit lower behind her. So I went on Amazon and I kept looking, and I found something. I think it was like a 3 gallon fishing bowl, and I ordered it and it came in. It was perfect. So when I cut it, the problem was, being plastic, it was melting, and I was like, oh man, I'm like, how the hell am I going to fix this? So what happened is I sort of sanded it down, and then I was like, oh wait, I'm creating a really cool like effect here. So then after I sanded it down, I took my sandpaper and I went around the edge and I kind of just scored up the edge, and it looked like it's kind of like glowing up on her and it's going upwards, and I said that's perfect. And I had to kind of sculpt the rocks into it to lock it in place, and that's kind of what I came up with. It's a simple little base. It's nothing crazy. And I didn't want to paint it either, because it's plastic. Trying to paint it, it would kind of be like, I kind of like the way it does. It has a little bit of reflection, but it doesn't need to be crazy. So that's what I came up with. I understand that, yeah, maybe the bubble would actually be bigger coming around here, but I couldn't find anything too big, and I didn't really want to make it too wide, because if you were to put this in a display case next to other statues, if you go wider, it would cause more display room and issues. I thought maybe this is just better, and it works. And then I just painted it up to make it look like rocks and stuff growing and stuff. So basically, I think she pops out more than anything. And that's what I came up with. Now, also, too, her hands are different from the Jean Grey hands. These are actually hands from 3D prints that guy Raz on my streams printed out for me. And they worked out pretty well. So I just kind of cut them off. I put them on the gloves and stuff. And like I said, these both pop out with magnets. So always, you know, whenever painting and designing, I like to add the magnets, because if I was to leave this on, it might cause issues with damages. Now, the sad thing is I don't have the original box that came with her, because the big, huge Phoenix base that came with her was damaged, and it was so big it was actually crushing a lot of the foam in there, so I had to actually throw it away. But she will be up for grabs. I'll probably have her up on my website, or I'll put her up on eBay. She doesn't have an original box, though, but I will pack it really safe for shipping, and that's kind of what I designed. The only downside of the whole thing, but it's once you kind of get it cleaned, it works out pretty well. The plastic kind of gets a little bit, attracts like dust, but because I work in my studio and I'm sanding and I had to do airbrushing, it created a lot of dust, but when I brought it in here and I wiped it down, it's fine. So it's nothing major, it's just a matter of, if you have a dusty area, it might collect the plastic, but otherwise, once you wipe it down, it looks pretty good. So there you go, that's my Sue Storm. I guess we'll go over the paints real quick. So, the hair, I wanted to keep more of a platinum blonde. I didn't want to go too yellow. I went with, I'm mixing up some different colors, flesh tones. I'm always trying new stuff with it. White has a little bit of a hinted white pearl mixed in with there. And I guess the major thing about this is her blue. Now, this is Createx pearlized blue with golden interference blue. And then from there, it's a little bit of shading. And then it was really like potent. It felt like a really crazy, like, you know, pearl glowing outfit. So I flattened it down with Mecha satin varnish, and it gives you that spandex look. So it feels like a nice silky satin spandex look compared to trying to make it like overly pearled. And that's what I went with the outfit. So with the pearl on there and all those wrinkles, they pop out a lot more. You can kind of see the wrinkles popping out, and it's not too shiny, but it also feels like that, almost gives you that vibe that it's a 90s outfit. You know, like those foil and, chrome covers that always had on the 90s, so it's kind of like with the outfit a little bit. So it's got that silky look. But there you go. That is the Sue Storm. So let me know what you guys think. Do you like the idea? Do you not like the idea? Do you like it as just like a side project, something I kind of come up with every once in a while, just to get these damaged items out the door and just so I don't waste materials? So let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching, and we'll be back with some more videos.